I started my career as a sociologist with Lou Swanson here in the room. And I was really inspired because I wanted to fix what was wrong with sociology. Students were depressed, so depressed, because every class is an overview of all the things that are wrong with the world. So a couple of recent things. More unequal nations have higher heart failure rates. You can see that America is in the gray. We're not in the good zone like many of the Northern European countries are. People without college degrees suffer more deaths of despair. And this is not a small thing, right? People are dying because of social inequality. And every sociology class delivers on this and tells people just how bad the world is and how much worse it's getting. So students are first enlightened and then frustrated and then depressed and then think, oh, another class. So my first day, I walk into the class to teach community development, and I was really convinced that we could do better, that we could deliver something that was less depressing to the students. And so I started teaching this class called community development. And I thought to myself, I'm at a land-grant institution. There's no place better on earth and no place more important than in a community development class to help students understand what sociology can do to further the goals of community. And we have to do it. We have a global imperative. We can't be educating people that are just depressed. We have to actually educate people with hope and with aspiration. So I walked into this class the first day, and I said to the students, hey, this is a brand new class, and I've had 2 weeks to prepare it. I know we want to be working with community partners, but I don't know how to do that yet. So you all can help me figure that out. And I gave them the promise of what could we do if we worked with community partners. And they said, Jeni, that's not enough. We can't just plan for future students. You have to figure out how to engage us in a project with community partners. And that class of students went out and found a community partner. And they helped me figure out how to get 50 undergraduate students to work in service of community partners using the tools from sociology. So over the years, since 2003, when I taught that first class, my students have worked on this project. How do we help improve sustainable transportation on campus and improve people's commutes to campus? We have worked on building a special populations communication plan for the county. We have worked on expanding outreach for the Sexual Assault Victims Advocacy Agency. We have worked with people at the Spur campus thinking about what is possible there. How could that be a more generative space than it had been in the past? And in these first few classes, I discovered a variety of things about me, but also about the potential of sociology. When I first proposed this to students and I said, we're all going to go out and do research, they said, we've never done that before, Dr. Cross. And this is a big load you're putting on us. You're expecting us to really deliver something to community partners. We don't know if we can do that. And this is one of my students who worked on the project with Sava, and he said in class, how can we interview survivors and make them feel safe enough to tell us their stories? Look at us. We're so different from them. Can we do it? And I said, yes, you can, and you will. When we challenge our students to engage and relate to community in new ways, and we challenge them to use skills that they are just developing, we build in them hope in themselves and in the capacity that they have and that sociology has to change our communities. This group of students was practically in tears at the end of the semester because they all transformed themselves and grew so much, because they learned about themselves, because they learned about community, and they learned about some things that we could do that would help Sava serve people better. The big surprise, though, wasn't just how much students learned in that class. Now, they were kind of moaning at the end of my class, but then years later, they would send me these letters and they would say, Dr. Cross, I'm so sorry. I gave you the worst teaching evaluation ever. But now I've been in graduate school for 2 years, and I realized that the class I took from you was the best class I took in college. Nothing gave me more skills in my life than your class. And my department said, hey, Jeni, you're doing great stuff. Let's make it a capstone. Then I started coaching other faculty how to do the same kind of community-engaged research in their classes that also became capstones. Then 10 years down the road, we did a survey of alumni, and we wanted to really capture the strength of all 3 capstones. One that is a more seminar-based one that's an intern-based one, and one that's this community-based one. And something shocking turned up in the data. The community-based class had the highest scores. This is the percentage of students who agreed or strongly agreed with these statements related to the individual classes that they took. This class delivered more value for students for the long term than any other capstone that we taught in the department. We had theorized that these would be the strongest for the traditional capstone. These questions here would be the strongest for the internship, and they were. If you look within the column, those boxes, those questions captured, the greatest agreement within that class. But the greatest agreement across all the questions was mine, and this is what really shocked us. I know more about what it means to be a member of community. I have a deeper commitment. I'm more involved. That wasn't just my classes, that was people teaching criminology or any other topic, because we engaged the students in participating and in designing for community. But it wasn't just the students that grew, or just me that grew, our partners grew. SAVA had no idea that the people that were most underserved are men, and predominantly young gay men experience a lot of power inequality in relationships, and power inequality is what leads to violence. So they had no idea, and we had no idea. But the reason we were able to uncover it is because I taught this class using the basic principles of community engagement, which are the questions come from the community themselves, what are the problems that they're trying to solve, and everyone's voice is valued equally. When we really value the students' voices and honor their experience, new insights show up. If I didn't have young gay men in this class, we wouldn't have uncovered this. We would have missed the signs and the data we were collecting. And all of our community partners and participants also learn and grow, but they teach us. We are better scientists because of the work we do with them. One project that came to me, the community said, we're taking people with dementia to the symphony, and we want to know, does it make a difference? And we were studying cognitive function, and we discovered that scientists don't even know how to measure mood, because we didn't expect that the mood elevation from going to the symphony started on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday before the Saturday performance. So none of our science was prepared to capture their experience. The research also stunned us at how big the change was for individuals. I just give you this quote that just crushed me when I read it the first time. All of this work, problem-solving sociology, problem-solving science, leads us to a path that requires us to work in interdisciplinary spaces. To answer the genuine questions of community, we have to do it in partnership, not just with ourselves, but with other scientists and with community partners and with other experts. The regenerative development philosophy, which as Del was talking about, is deeply in tune with the millennia of indigenous knowledge on the planet, tells us that we all find our greatest potential by matching our uniqueness, our insight from our discipline, from our own lived experience, with the global imperatives and the questions that communities ask us. Each of us has a unique gift to bring, and we are best able to help others and to solve problems when we do that in community, starting with the questions and the imperative that the globe has, the questions they have, the problems we need to solve.